Morning, Tony.
You are alive. I haven't seen you in months. Oh, haven't been here. We thought you actually just retired.
We're beyond that. We don't have to worry about this.
Yeah.
That's what they don't.
All right, before Kyle starts the meeting, I'll just let everybody know that this is my last meeting. I'm retiring early next month. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kyle to run the meeting.
All right, with it being 10 o'clock, we'll call this meeting to order, the Waupaca County Traffic Safety Commission, Thursday, April 13th at 10 a.m. Opening meeting statement. This meeting and all their meetings with this commission are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin statute so that the citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting. Start by approving the minutes from the previous meeting. And a motion to approve.
Yep, and I'll second.
Second?
Yeah.
Any discussion? We'll vote to approve, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? With none, we will continue. A move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion seconded. Any discussion? Vote to approve, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Any public input? Seeing none, we'll continue to start reports. As Captain Rasmussen said earlier, this is gonna be his last meeting. This is gonna be my first meeting at this end of it. So we'll start by going through the fourth quarter numbers. You guys can all see on the board behind me for October. The big number to report here is that second to last column, the fatal crash column. In October, we did have a fatal hit and run crash on County Highway W. 77-year-old male was struck and killed while outside of a vehicle, assisting a car-deer pedestrian. That individual did flee the scene and is currently in custody and has been criminally charged for those matters.
You know the internet password?
Want to hand my phone in?
Oh, it's mine. That's fine.
What?
I'll show the password out.
Moving forward for November, again, you guys can see the numbers behind me here. Nothing significant November, and then we get to December again, where we have a horrible number to report of the quadruple fatal on Highway 10X, which I'm sure you guys have all seen in the news. Again, 4 deceased, 3 on scene, 1 a day later at the hospital, and then that subject is also currently in custody. I will go through the yearly numbers. At the bottom here for the property damage crashes, a total of 546. Personal injury crashes, 162. The total injured persons, 204 total. And serious injury, 32. The minor injuries of 105. And the possible injuries of 66. A total fatality for 2023 would be 6. Total for a total amount of 708 crashes for 2023.
I'll just add a little asterisk in here. I told Kyle start next year. I don't know if it would matter to the committee that if we just combine the injuries to one number instead of splitting them up. I don't know if splitting them up would mean as much as that. We can always, Kyle could always pull it up on the maps if we wanted to break it down further, but at least for the report, it's just the total number injured. If we don't have an objection, Kyle probably start that
Next.
now. So yeah, for the next one.
Most do that, because you can go to the dashboard and pull up,
Right, break it down.
break it down if you need to,
So,
which I do every quarter anyhow.
sure.
Any questions on those numbers? Okay, I guess with that, that's all that I had at this time. We'll move forward to Casey.
Highway department was not that busy in November and October, and January hits and the snow is coming, so. We've got our whole fleet running. We're fully staffed. Last year at this time, actually in the year 2022, we went through a changeover of 14 employees. This year we had maybe so a lot of more experience, at least 1 year underneath all the operators' belt. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot, other than good to see Sod here again. I like seeing my buddy Sod. Yep, when I started off in road construction as a foreman in Shawnee County, if I needed help from anybody as a utility with Frontier Communications, Sod was that representative, so he made me look good, and here he is making me look good again today. Other things is related to the sheriff's department, highway department. If you need anything from us, please just call. We don't know about it unless you call, which good relationship between all of your deputies and our foreman and our on-call guys, and we rely on you and you rely on us to coordinate those activities. Sometimes we don't know about it because we have one shift, and that's tough to patrol everything at night when we're at home sleeping. So let us know if there's an issue with their on-call person or any of that. That's all I got. And I have a 15-year-old that's gonna start driving soon, so I'll pass it on to you.
Oh, well, I saw my driving school 2 years ago, but I'll talk to you.
All right.
Any questions for Casey? All right, moving on to Becky.
As you know, road test started back January 1. I contacted the driving schools in the area to see how that, what they thought about it. Their business dropped 50 to 75% and normally December and June historically are our busiest drivers at signups, Christmas time, you know, a gift, and then summer. So I think it's gonna be a transition of people realizing, you know, before they start signing up for driver's ed again. And I'm hoping it's not going back to driving without your license. That's what I'm kind of worried about. Cause I think when they suspended the road test, we got a lot of signups of kids that learn different. And they were good drivers, but they just felt more comfortable taking driver's ed. And I'm hoping those aren't the kids that went away. Cause those are the ones that don't get their license and drive, which makes life not good for any of us as far as safety is concerned. And there was something in I think they're trying to get legislation to bring it back, but it hasn't gone very far yet. But,
Nothing's been introduced.
yeah,
Yet. It's been
it's
talked
in
about,
committees or whatever.
but the problem they're having now is, since they didn't do driver tests since what? March 2020,
Yep,
doing the testing. If you haven't used the people since, if it wasn't required to use them since March of 2020, that's over 3 years, almost 4 years now. How many employees do they have left to do the testing?
and they weren't teaching it to or promoting people into whatever classification that was. And I would say 80% of people I know in the area DMVs have left. So I don't know who's,
How far? If you call today, when do you get to get in?
yeah, I don't know.
But that's gonna push more people to drive without a license
Mhm.
than anything we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
Because they've already had their Now, the nice thing is they can have their temps for 1 year, correct?
Yep. But you still can't sign up for the road test till 11 weeks before. So if you go on that day, 11 weeks, and you're 6 weeks out or 8 weeks out, you're, yeah. it's not-
So they've got to do something.
That's all I got.
Other questions for Becky?
Going to the Waupaca High School at night, at once occasionally picking up my daughter to take her home. There is so many vehicles coming and going at the beginning, going into school. I always see them when they're all coming out, and them kids are driving crazy. Just coming out of the Waupaca school, so I just recently seen the city, police officer sitting there. Kind of watching the kids to slow them down coming out of Waupaca High School. And just noticed the one change when he sat by the stop sign. It backed up all of the cars way back into that parking lot where I'd never experienced that before, because now they're all stopping like they should. What a difference,
Mhm.
or hammering on it, so.
Yeah.
What a difference just to have that extra patrol there when they leave.
Nice.
Okay, next up is Kathy.
I have really nothing new except for the five fatals that we had in the quarter.
Any
That's a
questions?
lot.
So do you update the BACs when you get them for the drivers, for them?
The BACs.
The blood alcohol?
Yeah, I have to forward it to them,
Or is
but
that good?
I know that for all of them involved, there was no alcohol involved, or drugs.
Not for the ones.
Of the full.
Of the deceased.
Of the full, of the
Deceased,
deceased.
Right,
not of the
Four
driver.
Deceased and the pedestrian. There was
Yeah,
no
that's what I
alcohol.
meant. I meant the ones under your town.
Yeah, the
Under
ones
your
under my
jurisdiction.
control, yes, there was no alcohol.
You have a number of medical examiners who have it, but the agency has to go ask them for it. I'm like, well, that could be 1 to 6 months out before you get your test back.
Yeah,
So-
if it's gonna be a criminal involved death, I have a different lab test. So that it comes back in a month, so that the autopsies come back on a timely manner.
A lot of them, I like it that you forward it to them as soon as you have it, because that definitely triggers an update to the crash report.
Any questions for Kathy? Okay. Next up would be Tony.
Yes, I see you've got the presentation, which is great. I have it on my laptop as well. So since it's the beginning of the year, I'm gonna go over what we had as projects last year, talk about what we have forecasted for this upcoming year. Last year, the only project, you can show that slide, that's fine.
All you have is the PDF version.
Yeah, that's fine, just slide down. County Highway E was, go up. County Highway E right there. It was from Waupaca, north of Waupaca to Ogdensburg. I'm sorry, it was about 7 mile resurfacing project north of town. It was a county road project actually that Casey undertook. They applied for federal safety money through our high-risk roads program and were able to secure that. And then they added in these federally funded safety improvements to make that border a little safer. Centerline rumble strips. You can see we added some signs on the curves, the chevrons, and then also some grooved in edge line as well to help give us that lane delineation, keep people in their lane as they travel north of Waupaca on Highway E. So that was the project that's done. They comment went well.
It went well here. I mean, it was just an overlay, so already this year, you're starting to see the cracks from down below come up and show at the surface, so is what it is, but.
As far as what we've got coming up next year, from a total overview for the entire region, we're 18 county region, basically from the Columbia County up to Hurley, either side of 51. And we do pick you guys up here on the east central part of our region. We have 45 total projects scheduled as of this meeting. 17 of those projects are actually local roadways with state or federal money, so we're involved with them that way as a funding source. But you'll see like several counties, Marietta County, got several local road changes, as well. A number of pavement resurfacing jobs. These projects vary based on pavement need. 13 of those pavement resurfacing, that's where we grind to, we put 2 inches back on of asphalt. The theory being to keep that water out of that base course, so we hold that roadway together. If the base course gets wet, falls apart, we're gonna lose the whole road, and then we're paying $1 million. So it's an asset management theory that we kind of follow now as an agency. There are some higher level projects, 9 pavement replacement projects. And then as you take a look at that, we also have some 8 bridge projects, and then there's a couple projects where we're just basically seeking bridge decks as well. So down. Why do you want to know about construction projects at a meeting like this? We have a lot of first responding agencies. Road projects can detour your response time. Resurfacing projects can close roads down to a single lane, as you know. It's a lot of the players out there. And they can close the segment of road for up to a mile. So for you to get around lights and siren to get somewhere on the other side, I want you guys to know and gals to know where these are so you can plan your response times accordingly. Good information to pass along to dispatch as well. Bridge projects also have temporary signals that can cause detours as well, not as much as those resurfacing. Taking a look ahead to 2024, as you know, there's 2 seasons in Wisconsin, winter and road construction. It looks like winter found us today. So, backed me up a little this morning myself. We've got several projects actually on the books for 2024 in Waupaca County. Those are all listed there. I'll go through them individually. The first one I'd like to talk about is Highway 96. You want to go down to the 96 slide? It shows you just a little pitch snapshot off of Google Earth of what that roadway looks like, and then it shows you on the county map of where that is. This is the segment of 96 of Highway 110 by the old cheese store there, I believe, out to 45 where that roundabout was built. About 5.5 miles, again, mill and resurface project that we've got scheduled for this coming year. Next one we got to talk about is on Highway 49. That's from North Street up to Depot Street. That's an 8-mile pavement resurfacing project. Goes basically from Waupaca north to Scandinavia. Another project of note will be on I guess they call it the Waupaca East Bypass. At least that's what I saw called on a plans. I don't know if that's what you call it. It's Highway 2254, runs from north of the highway shop at A there at the interchange with 10, up to the railroad overpass for that Wisconsin Central Limited Railway Bridge. That's a 2-mile resurfacing project in the city of Waupaca. We have a local road project in Waupaca County. This one's in the city of New London. This is about 1/3 of a mile. It's a complete roadway reconstruction project. It runs on the north side of the Wolf River. You can see that there. From Shawano Street over to Pearl Street. So that project will provide ultimately a new pavement surface, 40 foot wide with 8-inch concrete pavement. So it's going to be a concrete job. And then going back over to Fremont. I think the last 2 I have to talk about are Highway 110. This is from the Highway 10 interchange to the west of Fremont out to 96, ties back up to that first job I talked about. A little over 3-mile pavement resurfacing project, that area. And then connected to that, heading south towards Boisipi on 49 from Arndt Road up to the interchange of 10. You have about a little over a mile of pavement resurfacing project on 49 there that heads south to that interchange. Some other things of note, as I tell you at all these meetings, the DOT is, like everybody else, going more and more paperless. So if you want to find out information about these projects, I glean a lot of information off our 511 website. So I would suggest that you all have that saved as a favorite on your computer so that you can click on that and see what's going on with your projects in your county. It's updated periodically as the project goes along. Some projects do not have websites, but all the major ones do. So there should be updates. A few other things I want to talk about, and I'll shut up for today. Safety and operational assessments in Waupaca County. We did get a complaint from the clerk in the village of Iola, the intersection of 49 and 161. This is the one on the west side of town, I guess. middle part of town. Clerk had somebody come in and complain that people were not stopping there and reviewing that intersection. You can see that the traffic that comes from the north leg of the intersection is not required to stop. It can go through. The state highway has higher volume on the north side of that intersection. However, when I looked at the stop signs, below the stop signs, there's supposed to be plates that give direction that oncoming traffic does not stop. Like that one in the picture down there, looking north. And then there should be another sub plate below the stop sign on the west side that says traffic from left does not stop. We're having that added. I'm told that that was done by you guys, so that we can get better direction to the motorists. They know if they're supposed to stop it. The stop sign on the east side is on a power pole. That should be technically on its own signpost. So we're sliding that up and putting that on its own post. So we took care of all that. Some things are out there, we don't know about them unless they tell us. It's just things we inherit on the system. The other thing at which I'm actually working on this weekend, probably part of next week before I start doing safety applications for spring. We take a look at the top crash locations, the top 40 intersection crash locations. We pull them off the data site. It's unvetted. It's whatever was filed by law enforcement, just gets inventoried in Madison, sorted and given to us. So we looked at the top 40. Waupaca County has 2 that flagged that I will look at. I did pull crashes again, because I've already reported this one out at 45 and Northeast 7th Street in Marion. Take a look at that. Like we said, the sight distance was good at that intersection, but 2021 was just a bad year. There was like 4, 5 crashes there with a couple of injuries. And I think that's what's driving this as a flagged safety location. There were years where there were no crashes. 2020 had no crashes. I think there was no. So that one we're gonna take a look at, and then the ramps at Highway 10 West at 49 and it should be 54, I'm sorry, not 55 in Waupaca. That's where we put the stop line. So something's going on there. Like I said, these are unvetted crashes where I read all the reports and go, is there something that can be corrected? Is it a timing issue? Is it a signing issue? Is it a geometric issue? Could just be through a bunch of driver error crashes that will be thrown out. So until I get further, I will report out details on what I find and then proposed improvements at upcoming. I think that is all. Yep, my new contact information. I sold my house in 6 hours in Minocqua. I now live in Weston and I'm working out of the Wisconsin Rapids office. I have all the counties in the middle of the region better for my state. That's my report.
What did your cat think about your new house?
So far, she's adjusted well. Just sleeping on my pillow on the bed.
Tony, when the state is having the local officials meetings for upcoming designs for projects, there's a big project in the works for US Highway 10. And my response back to the group that invited me to the meeting was that Anderson Road intersection was horrific this summer. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. And so I mentioned it to them that I didn't like anything about that intersection even being there. Yeah. And they were gonna take it back to their design team and see what could be done.
And I think I did bring that up at one of the previous meetings as well. I think it flagged in my data set, not this time, but last year. And I looked at it and the question was, well, what to do? I know what I want to do. I want to close the meeting. But if we close the meeting, what are the repercussions of all of that? That's where all the yelling and hollering starts at the public meeting. So it sounds like that process.
Because that's the one without enough room to park in the middle in the median.
Right.
Unlike west, there's stop sign and plenty of room. I think that's possibly the first one where you can't stop.
What big project, about one of that,
Excuse me?
what big project on 10 are you?
There's 3 of them where they're gonna replace the concrete in the year 2026, I think it is. From Portage County line to Anderson Road, and the next one's from Anderson Road to Apple Tree Lane by the highway shop. And then the next one from Apple Tree Lane towards Winnebago County line. So overall, there was something crazy, like $18 million worth of investment on fixing that backbone artery in the works.
I live off of Anderson Road.
Okay.
It's an extremely busy intersection on 10.
Yeah.
And you have to put your car on an angle unless you have a small.
You have to put on an angle, and also even coming from ten going east onto Anderson Road. It seems to come up so fast and it's hard to locate that.
So, I mean,
At night, I'm talking primarily at night, obviously.
the ultimate answer is some sort of an engineered solution to relocate it. But that has a lot of complicating issues
Okay.
because of environmental, there's a river, there's access issues, you know, that's a lot of engineering, head scratching.
My suggestion was have them use the frontage road there and take them to River Road, but that's all.
Right.
2 miles out of the way, a mile out of the way.
I mean, you run an overpass there and take them across the south. Bring it back. I don't know. I mean, we're not gonna engineer it here today, but
No.
it's at that level of going need.
Like your last meeting, yes.
That's-
Let's go the big cement medium barrier. Just make them turn right there or west.
Please don't
turn 10 into 40.
figure out some kind of a U-turn.
You gotta provide
Well, that's
access.
what, it's nice to have that crossover for law enforcement there between, you know, Fleet Farm and they're going west. We really don't have a whole lot of options for,
Right through the median.
yeah, well,
Don't tell the sheriff that.
our county highway department worked hard on some nice cable barriers and things, so.
Any other questions for Tony? All right, moving on, Mr. McClone, anything?
Yeah, I want to make this comment and it's kudos for Casey Byersdorf. For the last 3 days since we've gotten snow, I'm hearing from a number of people what a great job he does in cleaning the roads and maintaining the roads. And they are pleased because they feel safe with him around. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Mr. Kevin.
Yes, I have to say the same thing for highway commissioners. Of course, that medical vans out in the road in this terrible weather, they have to be in many cases because of dialysis. But we have vans over in another county, neighboring us, and they said it was terrible. Didn't see hardly any plows out. We got toward the east in Waupaca County, they couldn't, it was night and day difference. So I had to tell Casey that yesterday. Good job when I get comments like that. So another thing is too, you know, being here at the courthouse from September through December 1st, it's really busy. I don't have a full-time job here, but I'm over here most every day then. And then December comes, the budget's passed. And I haven't been at the courthouse for 2 weeks. I was wondering if I got kicked out and no one told me, but no, it's terrible. It's nothing to do and especially when your wife is grabby. Thank God I got Gus at home at my office. But anyhow, Keith Solner here, known as Sod. Many of you know him. Casey and Keith are drinking buddies, or used to be. Not anymore. But Sod and I spent many years at the Clinton Aids Stadium. He came out and he was made the manager of our concession stand, taking in money to pay for the balls, bats, umpires, and I stayed on as a player. And this is why I can hardly walk today. But Sod just retired a year ago, and he's my driver now to get around. And I really appreciate him. He also was one of Seymour's finest at one time. He was on their police force. And it was a short stint, but he didn't stay with the profession. And another thing, played with Seymour High School. He was one of the outstanding linebackers for Seymour High School. He made one mistake as I heard of. I'm sorry, Sod. One mistake as I heard. In the second quarter, he got tagged for holding. Referee did a flag at him. He reaches down and picks up the flag and throws it down. Well, he was asked to leave the sideline and his coach told, "Get back in there, it's only 3rd down." He said, "No, I don't think they want me out there." I'm sorry, Sod, but they did let him go back in the second half. Referees had a laugh at it too. As far as Captain Rasmussen, thank you for your service here to Waupaca County. and wherever you were before, but you did an outstanding job. I consider you a friend forever. Good job. Sorry to see you go.
Appreciate that.
And you said you're looking forward to it. I had announced recently at the last county board meeting, I didn't take out papers to run again after being here for 26 years and 20 years as your county board chair. I'm going to dearly miss it. I love Waupaca County. I love the staff we've had here over the years. I love the sheriff's department. You name it. This is home to me. This is gonna be brutal for me. I know I'm gonna be 83, can hardly walk, been through cancer 3 times and all that type of stuff, but this is gonna be tough on me. I know that. So, unlike you, when the public heard that in Waupaca County, some bozo went and rented the biggest hall he could find, over 1,000 people were there. They were celebrating all through the night when they heard I was getting out. And I got photos of it. I forgot my phone, but celebrating. So let it be said, why didn't they run for office? I don't have anything else at all, but I'm still gonna be listening on the computer to your meetings. My heart will be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
Thank you.
Any questions? Dick? All right, moving on, Mr. Oleg.
Next one. Numbers as of yesterday. 7 fatals this year, 7 fatals last year at the same time frame. The year end tentative numbers 572. We know that'll change for at least the next year. That number will fluctuate based on medical examiners' rulings on cause of, or is it not cause of death, manner of death, right?
Cause and manner, yes.
Yeah, because, yeah, we have a couple of them pending where they were on face value intentional, or they had a medical event and may have been deceased before they crashed, or so that would change.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So those have to come through yet, plus we still have the time frame that crash is gonna happen in December, and they time frame they can get at it. 572 is the number we're at right now. Next one. Countywide, this is the one I was telling you, the dashboard, we pull up the numbers for the various type of injuries. To me, the stuff on the left is the numbers, the thing on the right is what you always want to look at. Green is good, red is bad. So your fatal crashes are down by 25%. Not number of people killed. This is crashing. You had 4 fatal crashes last year, even though more people were killed, if that makes any sense. But overall, your serious injury crashes are down as well as your fatal crashes. Aggressive driving crashes are down, and so are speed related. The only one that's up just a little bit is the teen drivers. Next one. Same thing here, your pedestrian crashes went from 4 to 2. Commercial motor vehicle ones are up a little bit, 40 to 43. And then lane departure, 2 units, which is basically your head-on type crash, are up 17%. But the rest are down, and down quite a bit. The 1 unit, those are those normally that just simply leave the roadway, the ditch or the median, or it also does include striking a parked car. But overall, those are down, and your winter road crashes are down 16%. Doesn't mean the winter road had anything to do with the crash. It just means that on the crash report, it said that the road had snow, ice, or slush. Yeah, and winter just showed up, this week. So next one, please. The fatals, this one here would have been the pedestrian. I just looked at 5 years. There were 4 total crashes in that area that's marked in red. No other pedestrian type crashes in that area. And I don't think any of these had anything to do with that. Is that the one where the driver of the other car might have been drinking? Correct. Yeah, okay. So I mean, point being, you can't engineer your way out of something like that. Next one. That's the wrong way driver. I know the state's been looking at wrong way drivers on Highway 10, well, pretty much everywhere in the state. So there, in that section, again, there's 24 crashes, 5 fatalities, 7 injuries. And there ironically been 2 fatal crashes in the last 5 years in that area. One each way. Next one. A program that's coming up, law enforcement phlebotomy. Where do you guys take your drunks now for blood draws?
State of Waupaca or
Next one, this program is already in a number of states. And there's actually what's called a toolkit through NHTSA. The goal here is to have law enforcement personnel trained as phlebotomists, but not what you consider like the hospital or clinic for the phlebotomist. A phlebotomist in a hospital or clinic can draw blood from anywhere. I mean, they can do the neck, they can do feet, they can do babies, they can do anything. This would simply be taking blood from the arm or the hand. That's it. Strictly for the purpose of OWI or DRE stuff. Next one. The program, they want to start small, so they're going to hopefully just get a couple of agencies that are interested. There'd be a lot of oversight. Most of it, I believe, is online training, fully funded by bots. There would be standards like policies and stuff. And from what I understand, even though my daughter works in a lab, she's like, Dad, drawing blood is not. All the time is spent on putting central lines in and stuff like that. She said, if you're only talking about hands and arms, it's like, remember, paramedics do that every day. And they don't spend a lot of time learning how to do that. It doesn't take that much. Next one. So what they're looking at is things like there were 20,000 blood draws each year. The average one cost about $50. Some of the problems that agencies have is how much time do you sit in the hospital waiting for the lab tech to come and draw the blood? Yeah. And then the second problem is subpoenaing those people for court. I mean, it's bad enough.
Draw the blood, you're subpoenaing the people that draw.
Yeah. Even though law enforcement watches it. With this program, you could, for example, I don't run a jail, so I wouldn't, but you could have a correctional officer trained to do this. Or who does your nursing staff? Do you have a company that does it? Waupaca. And I asked specifically only because I know a couple counties don't have nursing staff, they contract it out. Those people who are actually contract with the sheriff be able to do this through this program. So you've already got enough of an issue getting a search warrant and all the other stuff. Well, if you could basically from the traffic stop go right to jail. And do you do electronic search warrants here? You could do everything in the jail right there. And then you don't have to have extra people. Because when you go to the hospital, you usually have 2 deputies. Just in case the guy gets stupid or the girl gets stupid. Sometimes you need 3 or 4, depending on how. You have a lot more jail staff, you have a controlled area. And basically would be funded by bots or by NHTSA.
And how much of an impact on defense attorneys saying they're not qualified?
No, you would be state certified. Or you would be,
Right, but you know
you
how
would
they
be certified. Yep, this is done in many other states. They've already talked to prosecutors about it. It's being run by Amy Miles, who currently runs the state lab, hygiene lab. And Steve Krejci, who's the DRE coordinator for the state. And like I said, there's like 10 or 12 other states that are already doing this. And it's a national project, kind of done through the state lab of hygiene. So if you're interested, let me know and I will forward you there's a whole email packet that has more information.
We're interested.
Okay, I will send it off to you. Because the nice thing is, you're gonna cut an hour off of your OWI. I think you will. You don't have to wait in line at the hospital. Theta Care has been really good in Appleton. If you call ahead, they'll have a lab tech waiting at the door for you. All they ask is tell us when you're gonna be there and have all your paperwork done when you walk in the door. Because they too don't wanna be, waiting, but you could have all this now happen in your jail. You wouldn't be doing them for the doctor says I want blood on somebody. This is strictly for OWI or drug type arrests.
no medical clearance needed situation in this.
Correct. Which most of them you don't need them anyhow. And you still could do the ones where they need medical clearance, because again, your person versus the hospital phlebotomist coming in. I see a lot of positive things here, even if 10% of your blood draws still had to be done at the hospital, you're still. And then the one question that hasn't been answered is, you have a major crash where that person's in the hospital. And you know how crazy that is if they're seriously injured. Can your person go in and draw the blood in the hospital? The generic answer was yes. But most of the time, those aren't the problem, because they're drawing a ton of blood off these people anyhow. But, so I'll forward the information off to you.
You know what's responsible by agency at all, up top?
That's kind of where this whole thing started. Well, it's with the lab and then pushed through BOTS, because BOTS does all the funding. And I'm assuming they've gone okay with it because BOTS is under, or part of the state patrol. I know they're fully aware of it. I don't know if they're talking about having any troopers trained in how to do it, or. That I haven't heard.
Would add to our academy. There's everybody that comes out in their future would just be trained in it.
One of the downsides to that though is you have to have so many a year, just like, I'm not a DRE, but apparently your DREs have to have so many. But they can do fake ones. I shouldn't say fake ones. They can do training ones.
I think it's 3.
I'm assuming you could probably do that with this too, but maybe the hospital would say, okay, you haven't done one in 6 months. Come on in here when we're doing blood draws for, people, maybe they would, I don't know. Or you just, come poke the sheriff or the captain before he retires.
I'm thinking the new captain.
I think the old captain gets a couple first.
Very good vein.
I think it's a good program. I think, there's a lot of stuff out there, and the fact that it's a national program, I think leads credibility to it.
Now, you said the nursing staff could do it? We had 20.
Anyone who's part of the sheriff's office, and those people, because I specifically said, I know in Fond du Lac County, they have some company that comes in and does all their meds and everything.
That's what we have.
And the answer from Amy Miles was yes, that those people in fact could do that.
Well, and that,
Even without this program, or they
I
have
think they have to have this program.
okay, and that's fine.
Yeah, but that would be fun to do.
Be a big benefit.
Do exactly how anyway.
Because he's here already.
Yeah, they're already here.
So that was the answer I was giving.
Okay, would that work for like my troopers if they run somebody here, they pull in?
Yeah.
Their contact?
Sheriff.
But there's a separate.
Theoretically, the jail would provide blood draws for every agency in the county that would come in. Because it benefits the jail also. You get the numbers to show the program is a need and keep going. There's nothing saying that you couldn't do for an adjoining county. If you had another county where you house their inmates or whatever, I mean, there's nothing saying that either. It's a carte blanche. Once you're certified, you're certified.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that answer. And just prosecutors have been talking about this, law enforcement's backing it, we're getting nothing negative. We're getting questions about, I don't have any jail nurses. I don't, have a contract with them, but they're not mine. Well, yes, they are, because you contracted with them. So, and even the judges have said they would definitely prefer this type of program. Next one. And then I'll pass all this on to you. This is a little thing on the 511 that he was talking about, winter road conditions. The kind of current going away system was dispatch would get an email, and I know State Patrol gets it. They would send out messages area wide at like 4 times a day about road conditions. And that was very, based on what I think, if I'm the guy you ask. How is Highway 10? I think it was slippery. The next person will tell you that, it's impassable. So next slide. What they're doing now is, they have a maintenance decision support system that you guys have on your trucks. Yeah. And basically, there's equipment in the plow trucks on state roads that says, this is how much salt we're putting down, the plow is down, the plow is at this angle, and, Now they're gonna take all of that, which they currently are getting, and it's gonna automatically update this 511 road system. So instead of getting opinions, you're gonna get based on the people who are driving the truck. What is the truck telling them? So you won't be getting those well, I still say teletypes, I don't know what they call them now anymore. The teletypes about all of that. And it'll give you automated, updated conditions on the roadways versus the 4 times a day that they were doing that. Next one. Basically, they're taking everything they have, you know, weather radar and everything, dumping it into this. And with the AVL and GPS and the pavement system, they can tell you what the roads are like now, not what they were 2 hours ago. Because I just looked at it before I came over here and it was pretty accurate. But I can tell you 6 months ago, they would tell me that at 7 o'clock, the roads were crappy. Or 5 o'clock, they were crappy. So it would tell me they were snow covered and I get out there and there's no snow. Well, now this will give you much more accurate. So next. They still have the ability to do override, and it'll be actually like the MDSS might say very light ice. And the road conditions will say slippery stretches. Heavy ice, the road condition will say ice covered. Apparently that's the message the trucks send, the heavy ice or light ice or. And it'll still show the same type of map that's on the right side. So we'll still get some good information. They do have the ability to override for travel not advised. That's the only thing that the truck won't tell them is travel not advised. So you still might get a teletype saying, hey, we're hearing Highway 10 is impassable. But it's not going to be the 4 times a day that they're doing it. Next one.
And this is live now.
Yes, this is live now. I don't know when it went live, do you? It's recently. Might have been the first of the year. I know they've been playing with it for quite a while, so. Next one. Legislative stuff, driver education grants that passed. I believe it was enough for 15,000 students to take driver's ed. I believe it's gonna start in July and it has something to do with school lunch meals.
Would be if you qualify for school lunch, maybe you qualify.
Yeah, it's something with that. That's how they based the 15,000 was a certain level of kids that get, you know. No idea how that's gonna be divvied out yet.
I thought Milwaukee was.
Milwaukee is one of the primary ones, but this is not a Milwaukee grant. This is a statewide grant, but it's to reach underserved. Underserved, and I think the underserved, I think they did was based on school lunch programs or something. The DOT emergency contacts, that was signed into law December 6th. So as you renew your driver's license, or even before that, you can go on and change it. But you can add in names and phone numbers of people you want contacted. If something were to happen to you, where that's really nice is with your parents, with, you know, any dementia issues or, you know, but the other is, I mean, you just had a pretty horrific crash. How do you know who to contact if they're not local? I mean, how many times do you get people from Milwaukee, Madison, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota? And you're calling agencies trying to find out where people look on their driving record and see this is their contact. I mean, a direct phone number is maybe not the best, but at least if they're, I mean, some information is better than us having absolutely nothing.
Well, absolutely.
It's got nothing to do with Big Brother. They don't sell your data. They don't give it to anybody else. I don't know how you actually get it, if it's just automatically going to show up when you run it. Or if you're going to have to like take one more step to get there, just like to get the picture, don't you have to do one more step? Yeah. So it may simply be that.
It's not gonna be like printed on the back of the DLs or nothing like that.
Don't know. Haven't heard that yet. Probably not. But if we can run the thing and get it, that's what really matters. If we can actually get it. Next one. This is the alcohol regulation change that was made. That's the, what do they call it? The wedding barn bill. Well, your wedding barns have to be regulated. Couple things that did come up with that is a statewide bartender's license. Not sure how that's going to occur. You know, the question was, let's say Waupaca gives me a bartender's license. Does that mean it's good statewide? Or do I have to go through the state board? But at least you don't have to go, I mean, I know people in Appleton that have 4 bartender licenses because they work in 4 different municipalities. And everybody's supposed to use the same standard, but I don't know. It also, and hard seltzers are now considered a fermented malt beverage. It has to do with the class of license that can sell them. And it increased some penalties, but it also increased money for the Safe Ride program, which is good. More of the money going towards Safe Ride. And that's already in effect. Next one. Speed limits, these are introduced, going through the process. This one would allow municipalities on their own roads to lower the speed limit by 20 miles an hour without DOT approval. Currently, you can only do 10 miles an hour.
It's a workaround to get four-wheelers on it.
I didn't say that, but yeah. So that's out there, but again, as you can see, there's been no hearings on it, so I don't know if it'll go anywhere. ATV, UTV open containers, we floated out of committee in September, gone nowhere. Impounding vehicles, this would allow the law enforcement agency to impound a vehicle for up to 90 days for certain offenses. The one that's missing, I think, is OWI. There's 4 on there that are egregious, but OWI is not on there. And I asked our legislative person, I said, maybe get a hold of the guy from Superior and say, why is it OWI on there? Because that's the one that we should take their vehicle for, especially a second OWI. Should have the option to take their vehicle for 90. But next one, skateboard on the roadway, currently not allowed, but somebody in Milwaukee and Middleton wants to allow that, not classify them as play vehicles. Just what we need out there on the highway, but peer-to-peer vehicle sharing, this would put some requirements on things like Uber and Lyft, insurance, vehicle free from recalls, driver has to have a driver's license, stuff like that. A little more teeth on it. Again, it hasn't gone anywhere since September. Next one. Possession of marijuana, basically reducing the fines dramatically. Maximum $100 forfeiture for up to 14 grams or less. Then not allowing employers to test for THC as a condition of employment. There's certain exceptions. Coming out of Milwaukee. Next one. Driver's ed, as we talked about, the rule suspension is December 31st, so they all have to take a test. DRE school coming up in April, fully funded by bots. Next one, another class in October. If you're interested in that too, let me know. I can shoot off the email. Again, no requirement that you do anything with it, but if there's any interest at all, there's much more information that I have. It's not up here. The last thing is, this isn't on the slides, but we had a meeting on Monday about grants. And I know we've talked about the fact that it's hard to get people to do OWI grants because of the time. The same thing with occupant protection, isn't there, like 50% has to be at night?
That's the seatbelt grants,
Yeah.
50% of you.
Do you guys do speed grant in the summer?
Yep.
Okay. If the speed grant, and we were just asked to check with other agencies, if speed grant was all year long, would you take? Before you answer that, there are no restrictions, time of day or day of week for speed grant.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, to throw in the minutes, but here was what I brought up. I said, if you offer me 50,000 in OWI, 50,000 active protection, 50,000 of speed, I'll take the speed. Because speed is easy to do, stop with. But I can get every officer in the department to work it because they can work it any time, day or night, any day of the week. Whereas it has to be overtime. It has to be overtime. It has to be paid overtime. You can't take time off.
Christmas money.
But like OWI, the problem is 6 PM to 4 AM. What are your shifts?
6. Ours line up okay. We booked to split that up 4 blocks, but at the same time, you're limiting to the first 4 hours when problems usually the second 4 hours.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And with speed, you could have guys come in on their day off doing 8 hours. In areas where you have a problem. Like you can look at predictive analytics and say, our problem with speed isn't Highway 10. Our problem is over here. Or even your OWI problem isn't always at night. I mean, there are drunks out there during the day. I thought that might be a shock, but there are drunks out there during the day. But my point to Mike Schwendel, our supervisor, is what you're gonna see is right now, speed grant money is down here, OWI is here. You're gonna see it do this. Because I think more of your people will take speed money. Speed time, versus OWI. I don't think that's a bad thing.
You get OWIs out of that anyway, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the problem is the same thing with seatbelt. I get it, they want nighttime enforcement, but do not tell me that the only time these people drive is at night. Those same people drive during the day without a seatbelt on too. And these, if you look at your crashes at night, they're not wearing a seatbelt. You ask anybody, I'll bet the majority of their driving is during the day anyhow. So even though the problem is at night, if we could stop them during the day and educate them and they put a seatbelt on, maybe that crash at night won't be an injury or a fatal crash versus us just doing it at night. But
Another aspect to it, we talked about it earlier, was like for OWI task force, when we get that grant, we can't do it ourselves. It has to be in conjunction with an outside agency. You guys don't have that this year. We have it in 3 other counties in the region. My question is, why doesn't that exist for speed? Because that would be great for us as far as state guys would take overtime for that all the time. We could work in conjunction with them.
my understanding is it will,
It will.
if it becomes a year round.
Okay.
Wisconsin decided only the summer. It's not Wisconsin decided we're just gonna do, what was it, Memorial Day to Labor Day?
No, it was not even, so they just extended it to May 1st to September 30th, but before it was.
It used to be like June.
June, yeah, June, July, August.
Yep, because it wouldn't even get into Labor Day, that's
No.
right, yeah. Which, I get it, but if it's 404 money or 401 money, let's use it where we need it. Let's not peg ourselves to the box that it has to be OWI. Not saying OWI is not a problem, but enforcement is enforcement. Our problem is not just OWI, our problem is speed when they're drunk. So, yeah, so that might be coming up fairly soon. The OWI targeting or the speed targeting is done. You guys should get notified. Yeah, maybe this week or next week. I know Mike was, you have Mike Conish, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna do a lot of contact with agencies to get the speed grant information out there. And we're hoping the next fiscal year to make it a year round thing, because I think that's where it belongs. But, so if you talk to Mike, feel free to mention that, hey, we would much rather do speed all year long.
Yeah, he was here a couple weeks ago, actually.
So we've been saying that for a couple of years now. It's obviously Mike Schwendow, not Mike Punch, Mike Schwendow, our boss, works for Dave Pabst, who works for the state patrol. That kept getting pushed up, and finally they're like, why are we not doing this? So that's why I'm sure you guys will be probably the impact on it.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Anderson. I still know.
Again, say, hey, that we heard this is a good thing, push it up the chain to say, yes, we would like to do this because we can make a difference here.
Well, like you said, speed is easy.
Yeah.
Cops all over the place sign up for that because it's easy, and then you're just gonna get stuff off it, drugs.
Yeah.
Warrants,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
So. Okay, sorry I took a lot of time, but that's all I have today.
All right, any questions for Rick? Here? Here to Pedersen.
I just got a couple items, just basically on staffing right now. Sarah Berg has been moved over to the TRU. She accepted that position, so she's officially off the road. She's part of our technical discussion now. Her car number is 55. Works out of Oshkosh, but still will be available. That leaves us with 436, which is Trooper Pullman. It's the only trooper in Waupaca County. We do have Inspector Linger. So she's out there pounding, helping and crashing some of that stuff too. We have 2 openings in here for trooper positions. I've already talked to Major Wallace about those spots. And what I'm hearing right now is that we're probably gonna get 1 for spring. But we're still trying to make the effort to get both filled because we know who's probably gonna take them based on seniority. They'll both come from the D3, which is Northeast region. And the 2 individuals, one has 17 years, one has 12 years. And they're very good, hard employees, so I hope they'll come over. Other than that, we've been tasked this year, and I've been doing them kind of in the past anyway, doing predictive analytic details. Our first one is gonna be February 24th, which is a Saturday. It's gonna be from 10 a to 2 p, and we're gonna be efforting. I ran the numbers. within, community maps and stuff, over the last 3 years, there's 3 localized hotspots. 2 are on Highway 10, one is Waupaca, one is Waupaca, one is on US 45. So we have all my troop, which is 5 individuals, myself, and then Autumn has, overtime set up there for that speed grant to come out and join us. So we're hoping 6 to 8 people, and we're just gonna come out literally for the 4-hour block. We're gonna saturate Highway 10 and Highway 45. That'll be the first one here. Probably 3 or 4 of those throughout the year. So we have to figure that out. So just a start to it, and we'll move it up into there.
Any questions for Sergeant Pedersen?
Yes, excuse me, sorry, what days are those?
February 24th, which is a Saturday, it'll be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, the effort is US 10 and US 45.
Thank you.
We have to slow down, son.
Yeah.
Put that on my calendar.
Yeah.
For all the delegates. There'll be more of us that period.
Chairman Will? Autumn?
So we started our seatbelt grant, November 9th was our first deployment. We've had 6 total deployments since the beginning of the seatbelt grant. The agencies participating, Waupaca County Sheriff's Office, Waupaca Police Department, Waupaca Police Department, Manawha Police Department, the New London Police Department, and the Marion Police Department. So far, 19 officers have been deployed and 113 hours of overtime have been worked. So our balance for the seatbelt task force, which runs all year, just under $45,000. We have 38,000 remaining. Traffic enforcement totals, we've had 185 contacts, 7 seatbelt citations, 5 OWI arrests, 10 citations for operating without licenses, 1 open intoxicant, 2 vehicle registration, 2 vehicle equipment, 76 other citations, 42 written warnings, and then, as Rick mentioned, the speed grant. We are going to participate in the speed grant as well. That's slated to begin May 1st, which is good for us through September 3rd. And that's all I have.
Questions for Autumn? Next, anything from New London?
Nope, nothing.
No other PDs? I guess the final thing would appear is I would also like to personally thank Captain Rasmussen for the guidance and everything provided to me. And looking, congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
When's the party?
February 9th.
For everyone.
February 24th between 10 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
We
with
all
that,
go to the party, so.
Yeah.
I will take a motion to adjourn.
So we'll. Gotta do. Kim, what's the next date? Yeah, next date.
April 11th.